Hello guys, welcome to Captain Dorge's Armory. This is Captain Dorge, and we are going to be doing some World of Tanks advice today, and this is going to be a little bit more lively than some of the last couple of advice videos. They've been pretty much just garage videos. This one is not going to be just a garage video. This is going to be about knowing your role in game, and we're going to talk in the garage a little bit, and then we're going to get into action. Hopefully I get some good examples for this video because I'm going to be doing the battles live, so it's a crapshoot on whether or not I get good matches or really bad matches. So right away, here we go. Knowing your role. There's a couple of things to knowing your role, and some of those things are things that just come with time. The first one is general knowledge of all the maps in the game, and that takes time. You can't learn all the maps in the game until you've played all the maps in the game a lot of times. I have played 13,181 battles since World of Tanks released, and about another 4,400, 4,000 roughly in beta. So I've got about 17,000 games under my belt, and there are actually quite a few parts of several maps where I largely avoid fighting on them because I'm really bad at it. And it's because I don't know those parts of the map well enough to be effective in any tank. So that's the major component in knowing your role, is knowing the maps really well. Because if you don't know the map and how the fight usually goes down, you can't put your vehicle into a situation where it can do the most to win the game. The next most important thing in knowing your role is to know the vehicle that you're driving. Are you driving a T-54? Are you driving a scout tank like the WZ-131? Are you driving an M4 Sherman? You need to know your tank. You need to know its strengths, and you need to know its weaknesses. Like the M4 Sherman, the strengths of this tank are that it's very fast, and it has a pretty decent little gun on it. But it's a tier 5. It's not very durable. You don't have much armor. You don't have much health. You need to be careful about getting shot. You need to use your speed to get into a position where you can shoot people a lot of times really quickly with your, fast-firing, powerful little gun without them shooting back. You need to know your tank. That is why I play pretty much every tech tree in the game, because if I don't play any, say, American turreted tank destroyers, I'm not going to know those tanks very well. So basically, you can see out of American vehicles, I play everything but artillery, and I played the artillery up to the M12. British, I play everything but the artillery. We're going to see a theme here. German, I play everything but the artillery, and I played the artillery up to the Hummel. I never have played a GW Panther, though. French, I play all the French except the artillery. Russian, I play all the Russian except the artillery, and I played the artillery. I've played this arty, this arty, this arty. I played the S-51, and I've played the Object 212 quite a lot. So even though I don't actually play the Russian artillery, I actually know the Russian artillery pretty well. And Chinese tanks, I play all the Chinese tank lines. So part of the reason why I play all the tank lines is because I just want to play all the tanks, except for the artillery, which I find to be largely boring and a giant grind. The other reason why I play so many tanks is that you learn them better. You learn the strengths and weaknesses of a vehicle by playing it a lot better than by fighting against it, in my opinion. So in order to be able to know your role, you need to know your tank. And the last part of knowing your role goes kind of hand in hand with knowing your tank, and that is being able to look at the matchmaker to see what you've been given for friendly vehicles and enemy vehicles, and to figure out what you can do in that match. That's a combination of knowing the map and knowing the tanks, because let's just use a kind of a generic medium tank as an example. So the M26 Pershing, it's a fairly generic medium tank. It's pretty fast, but it's not super fast. It's got a pretty good gun, but it doesn't have like a really, really, really powerful gun. But it's pretty good though. And for a medium tank, it's got decent armor, but it's not like a really armored medium tank like a Type 59 or a T-54 or something like that. So when you get into a match with the Pershing, you need to look at the map and say to yourself, okay, I need to go to the medium tank battling area. I'm in a medium tank. I need to go to the place where I can fight effectively with a medium tank. And then you need to look at the matchmaker and say, oh, I'm the only medium tank on my team, and the enemy has 5, and all theirs are tier 9s. If I go and try to fight there, that's where their mediums will go. I'll get killed. So in a situation like that, you want to go someplace else, because your role is to not be dead. Your primary role in every match is to not be dead. So if doing your carbon copy job on any given map is going to equal instant death, then your first priority is to do something else. If you're in the IS-6, you want to get into frontal combat with medium tanks, because your strong armor will make it very hard for them to damage you, and your rapid-firing, high-damage gun with low penetration has a really hard time in frontal combat against heavy tanks, but in frontal combat against medium tanks, you can rip them to shreds. So a lot of the time in an IS-6, you want to say to yourself, oh, the enemy's got a lot of heavy tanks, they're all going to go here. I need to avoid that area. Anyway, these are really abstract examples, so we're going to get into battle with some different tanks in the game, and we'll talk about it as we're going into these fights about knowing our role. Alright, so we're going to take out the T-54 for a battle. As you can see from the matchmaker, this is a tier 10 battle. There are 2 tier 10s per team. The enemy team have a AMX 50 Foch 155 and an Object 268. That's 2 very dangerous tier 10 tank destroyers. And my team has a T-57 Heavy and a FV-215B 183. That's a pair of very nasty tier 10s as well. There are a lot of tier 9s on both teams. The entire rest of the enemy team is tier 9s, except for the artillery. And on our team, we have 1 tier 8 heavy and an artillery. So really tier 9 heavy, lots of tier 9s. The enemy only have 3 medium tanks. Our team also only has 3 our team has 4 medium tanks rather. We have 2 T-54s, an M46 Patton, and a T-54E1. The enemy have a Centurion 7-1, a T-54, and a T-54E1. Now, tank destroyers on this map, it's a toss-up whether they go city area or bridge area, so it's hard to know where the TDs will be. But in a match like this, the role of a T-54 is to come down here and do your best to push the bridge. So I'm going to come up into this bush early on and look for the enemy. Okay, there we go. Now that I've got my gun depressed far enough to actually be able to see what I'm trying to look at and shoot if I want to. So we've detected 2 heavies so far. Let's make a... Okay, we're just making sure no one is sitting exactly behind me. Because right now I'm scouting. I don't want to be getting shot. So if somebody were sitting right behind me, I was actually going to move out of this bush so that I couldn't be blind fire killed. Okay, now there's a T-30. That's a nasty TD. And we've got an enemy tier 9 heavy pushing up on us. So you can see quite a few enemies down here, but so far it's looking good. Got a lot of heavies down here, and E-75's moving up as well. That's not good. I have a very hard time damaging an E-75 with this tank. Got a T-54. 2 of their 3 mediums are down here. Pretty soon I'm going to have to pull out of here, so I'm going to look for a good shot to take, and then I'm just going to abandon ship. So I'm going to go for a shot on the T30 and get a huge lag spike and pull back. So I fired at the T30 because he was the one who was combination of easiest to damage and lowest health. And even with 201 pen, I bounced off his 100mm thick front hull. So that just shows you what angling can do. But it's okay because I already killed the T30. Now I've been spotted moving over here, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for a second. You can see there's basically nothing in the town. Our team has encountered a 50 Foch 155, and so far that is really it in the town. So that means that the main push is going to be over here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get opportunistic damage on these guys, but I'm also mostly trying to scout, just trying to light them up. So I took a good hit there from the 5120. I'm just trying to keep them lit up. We have good arty on our team, and I have a lot of guys behind me. I don't need to do all the damage here. I just need to light stuff up. There's the 268. That's really dangerous. And like a noob, I crashed into the water. No. Oh, can I get myself out? Can I get myself out? I think I can get myself out. Whew, that was almost an episode of Know Your Role and to know how to derp most effectively on any given map. That was close. That was lucky. I'm glad I kept my head about me and didn't just give up and back into the water. Okay, so we know we have a Yag Tiger and a 5120 over there. Those are two really dangerous tanks that can chew me up really fast. So I don't want to be poking. There's the enemy T-54. There we go. Bounce a shot from him. I would honestly rather put return fire into the 5120 than the T-54, but sometimes you just have to deal with what's in front of you. Managed to get the T-54 to shoot my tracks. So what I'm going to try and do against this T-54 is I'm going to try and stay below him because he's got really bad gun depression. So I can get shots into him like that. He's not giving me a lot to work with, and he is penning me every shot. He's got too much on my side to shoot at. I got arty on my side though, which is definitely good. Trade shots at each other's weak points. We both failed the damage. Come on, T-54. Get him to shoot at my side and then angle right as he fires. Right now, my job is to not kill this guy, it's to just stay alive. My team's going to flank him and work him over. So there we go. T-54 taken out. And I'm now spotted. That 5120 is still down here somewhere. So I'm going to take cover behind this wreck and just sort of chill. Try and detect this guy. There's the 5120. Okay, I'm probably safe to advance. Unfortunately, I have to advance basically side on to any enemy positions because I need to cross this water right here. So I've done a lot of spotting. I've done a lot of baiting. I haven't really done a lot of fighting. But really, in a match like this, where it's just loaded to the gills with heavies and TDs and stuff, a T-54 is really a support tank. If there were a lot of tier 8s or more medium tanks, I could take on more of a combat role. But in a situation like this, even though the T-54 has great attributes for combat, this is not a frontline combat tank. Very, very much a support tank. So I've been trying to do my best to support my team by spotting, baiting, and not dying. A dead tank doesn't do any good for anybody. So right here, what I want to try and do... Oh, this is not ideal. So I want to try and get off these railroad tracks before I die. These guys are just going to push right back into the corner. Fine with me. We're going to try and utilize our low profile to stay behind the hill and just pick these guys off as they abandon all hope. So now we farm up easy damage on people who've given up. And that is what happens when you just give up. You get farmed and killed like that, 4502. Oh, he moved! No! And the 215B finishes him off. Yeah, so that wasn't exactly a banner match, but let's take a look at the results and see how we did. So that was my double 2,616 experience. That's not too bad. 57,000 credits, and almost all of that is detection. So in that battle, I was a support tank. I was basically a scout, and so I scouted. I put 190 damage into the Foch 155 and killed him. I put one shot into basically the giveaway tank, the free farm that was that guy. And I put one shot into the enemy T-54. Other than that, spotting. 117 spotting on the 5120, 485 on the M103, 513 on the 4502P, 780 on the Centurion, 170 on the T-54, 85 hull spotting damage on the T-54E1, and 1,112 on the T-30. So I didn't do hardly any damage. In fact, I'm third from the bottom on my team in damage. But experience, actually, I'm second on the team. So that's kind of the power of spotting. So yeah, I hope you got a little bit of an idea what I was talking about knowing your role in that. That battle was actually turned out to be a really, really good example. So I'll see if I can get maybe one or two more real good examples of just knowing what your job is and you know, however inglorious it may be, going out, knowing your role, doing your job, and helping your team win. Alright, so we're going to play a battle in the Leopard prototype, and while we do this, we're going to kind of take a look at, we're still doing the know your role sort of thing. Now, this tank is very, 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 very easy to damage. It is very fast and maneuverable. It has a powerful gun, but the gun has a very low rate of fire and a very slow aiming time. And the tank has pretty good view range. A lot of tier 9s in this battle, a lot of medium tanks. The enemy have an M48 Patton, two T-54s, a T-54E1. They also have a Pershing, and they have an AMX 5100 and AMX 5120. Our team has a Centurion 7-1, myself and the Leopard prototype, a T-54, a T-54E1, an M46 Patton, and a Lorraine 40T, as well as a Pershing. So what I'm going to do in this match is I'm going to come over to this left flank, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and spot and just kind of opportunistically snipe. Hopefully I will not be doing this alone, because one thing about this tank is your role is definitely not to solo defend flanks. Your terrible durability and your heinously bad rate of fire with this gun make you very, very, very easy to kill. So I'm going to park up behind this bush and just look to see what's coming, because something will probably be coming. Okay, we've spotted two of the enemy mediums in town. Looks like a T-54 and an M48. Spotted the 54E1 over by the town. Wow, the E100's already killed the Patton. That's really nice. We've also spotted an E4 and a 5120 over by the town. So we're just kind of taking a look to see what is and isn't there. Our 46 Patton just killed an M103, and an enemy E4 just drowned. So this match is kind of derpy. Alright, I took a shot at that T-54, and now I'm backing off. Unfortunately, it looks like I hit the guy's turret, and even 250 pen, or whatever the heck these shells have, 268, even 268 pen is not enough to get through the turret on a T-54. Okay, so I have been spotted, so I don't really want to be lingering out here, but I kind of am anyway. It's probably not the smartest maneuver. Okay, we're going to take a shot at this IS-8. There you go. That's this gun for you. Slow rate of fire, but I did 426 damage. Now I'm going to pull back during the reload and just kind of take cover. This tank doesn't have great gun depression, but it's not bad either. So I'm going to pull up from a different position. Put another shot into the IS-8 and back off for my reload. Okay, we got a 54E1 over there. Those things are really dangerous, so I want to get some opportunistic damage on him. Unfortunately, I missed. I didn't wait for my shot to be fully aimed, and this gun only has .38 accuracy. So even though it's pretty accurate, it's not the laser beam of a lot of other high-tier German mediums. So I'm just going to kind of wait for a respawn and go for another shot. There we go, another good hit onto him, 420 damage. And again, backing up, repositioning, trying to stay out of sight during my reload. This tank, you do not want to take hits in it. You have to play this tank very cautiously. We're going to look for an opportunity to finish off the IS-8. No line of sight on the IS-8. The E-75's killed him. Okay, that's good. So far this match is going really well. We've only lost our Pershing, and we've lost our M103 to friendly fire, but the enemy have lost both of their tier 10s and a lot of their tier 9s. See, our E-75's on low health. Now, we know the AMX 5100 was back there, so I don't really want to close in on this T-54. I know that T-54's get the stock turret, so he's only got the 100mm gun, but that can be very dangerous to me. Now, you can see my gun depression. I wasn't able to get a shot on the T-54 because of my gun depression. But I had kind of a lag spike right there. Drove forward a lot more than I wanted to. And in that lag spike, the 5100 and the object killed our Centurion and our Foch. So we're not over here alone. Oh, balls. Okay, the object is polished off the E-75. The M46 Patton is coming, but he's only on 20 or 200 health. So I am backing off. I don't want to be in a close fight with those guys. I do not want to be getting shot at by an Object 704. Okay, the 54E1 spotted a whole bunch of nasties up there, and I am going to try and get opportunistic damage on them. Oh crap. Here comes the T-54. Okay, I almost set a side shot on that 704, but I didn't quite get it. Let's try and draw the T-54 out. Draw the T-54 out, come on. Alright, well, all I managed to do was detrack him, which was very frustrating, because I'm actually taking an awfully big risk sitting and playing with that T-54. Keeping mobile to avoid artillery. Alright, the terrain here, the way it dips down, I can get gun depression on this T-54. Put a big hit into him, set him on fire, killed him. Good. Now I can take cover during my reload. That guy actually fired an HE shell at me, which is kind of interesting. So we're going to go for a little opportunistic damage on the E-75. Alright, he's in cover from me. Just going to kind of peek around the corner real quick, see what I can see. I know there's an Object 704 up there. Alright, the object is busy. The E-75 is busy. That means there's only a Pershing that could possibly be in my way. So we're going to advance rapidly. We're going to use our mobility to get into the fight. We're going to try and take these guys from behind before they're all dead. But they're probably going to die before I can get there. Okay, we found the Pershing. We're going to beat up on this Pershing. Looks like he's given up. Gonna shoot the Pershing and drive right by him. Okay, there's the 261. He's going to be otherwise occupied. So once we reload, we're just going to farm the Pershing. Maybe we can get one more hit into this Pershing before he dies, but that is anybody's guess. And we finish off the Pershing, ending the battle. Good game for our team. And that was actually a pretty good example of not only how the Leopard prototype has to be played if you want to be any kind of successful, but also a pretty good example of knowing your role. In my tank in that match, my role was to avoid combat. This is not a combat tank. This tank is a vulture. Like, you look for people that are occupied in some other manner, you look for people that are distracted or weak, and you pick the bones of their corpse. You actually play it a lot like a French tank, except French tanks have a really, really high rate of fire with a long reload. This tank has a really, really slow rate of fire. So, whereas I might have come out and just fired 3 shots with a French tank real quick and then pulled back and loaded my entire clip, with this tank, you come out and you fire 1 shot and then you back up. So, we can see here, sorted by damage, I actually did the 2nd most damage on the team and 3rd highest experience. 10 shots fired, 9 hits, 8 penetrations. I only received 1 hit, and I think it was an HE shot because it only did 100 damage to me. So that was a really, really good example of knowing your role, and the way that we knew our role in that match was we knew the map, we knew the matchmaker, and we knew the strengths and weaknesses of our tank. We applied those 3 things, and we were able to get a very, very favorable result. So we'll see if we can get another good example, and if I can get a 3rd good example, that'll be that. If I can't get a 3rd good example, it'll be pretty obvious. So, we're in the Tiger 2. We're in a Tier 8 match on Westfield. Hopefully we're going to be looking at sort of, knowing your role, doing what you got to do in the match. It's a Tier 8 match. We've got 5 Tier 8s on our team, 5 Tier 8s on the enemy team, a lot of Tier 7s, mostly heavy tanks. So that means most of the fighting is going to be done on the north part of the map. Our team actually has no mediums. We only have light tanks and a tank destroyer. Their team has 2 mediums. Anyway, okay, it looks like our ARL, our Tiger, our Churchill Mark 7, and a KV-1S are going to go down and cover the south, which is good. That leaves me free to fight up here, which is what I want to do. I'm hoping... Okay, we're able to absorb the fire of the KV-1S, but our shot on him missed, which is unfortunate. So this tank doesn't have the greatest gun depression. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and climb up this hill so that I can traverse my turret and shoot. Not down on the enemy. Essentially, I can shoot down on them without having to depress my gun. That's the goal. It also kind of allows me to fire onto the backside of the hill. The problem is, if no one covers up here where my gun is pointing, I'm very exposed to enemy fire from over there. So this is kind of a teamwork idea, and it doesn't really look like a lot of people on my team are that into teamwork. So I put a shot at the enemy Tiger 2. He's got the stock turret, which is pretty easy to penetrate. But this stupid Jagdpanzer IV is really driving me crazy. I got hit by a KV-1S, which is pretty insulting, really, to get my... Look at that! He pinned the roof of my turret! Like, what the F? There's supposed to be a concept in this game called an auto-bounce angle, where if a shell strikes at a high enough angle of incidence, it doesn't matter how much penetration the shot has, it bounces off. The roof of a Tiger 2, from a guy shooting up at it, should be auto-bounce. Like, that was complete BS that stupid KV-1S was able to pin. But it doesn't matter, we are ripping him apart for his insolence. You, sir, are about to be punished, Tiger 2 style. Just need to depress my gun far enough to do so. Alright, even more insulting. He was punished Jagdpanzer IV style. Alright, so we've taken care of everything on the kind of north end of this thing. So what we're going to do is, because we have bad gun depression, we're going to come over this way and fire kind of back up at them. We want to be doing as much kind of heavy combat, really, as we can, because that's what Tiger 2s are for. And we're a good candidate to negate this IS-6. We just have to get into a position where we can do it. Because the IS-6 is all about heavy firepower and strong armor, but he does not have the armor to negate a Tiger 2. Okay, I gave my lower plate to that T-29, and not surprisingly, he was able to pen. And I bounced off him, which is pretty surprising because I shot his hull. So we're going to get hull down behind this wreck. We're going to brutalize this T-29. Here we go. Jagdpanther 2 doing what Jagdpanther 2s do. And we're going to look at the turret of the IS-6, which is actually not that hard to pen. But we need to push it here because we have lost the southern half of the city, which is not good. So we're going to push the IS-6. The side of the turret on the IS-6 is very, very weak. We're going to keep our front angled to the Super Pershing. Okay, there we go. Super Pershing shot at us and bounced. Artillery fired at us and missed. We're going to risk taking a shot on the side from the Super Pershing. Unfortunately, it hit my ammo rack, but I'll repair kit that. I need to chase this IS-6 down. There it is. Alright, there's the IS-6. I'm going to leave my teammates to deal with that ELC, and I'm going to go hunt Super Pershing. That T-34 would be a nice kill as well. Okay, now the Super Pershing. Very strong spaced armor. Massive, massive weak spots. Very weak from the side. Very crappy gun. Looks like I don't know what just shot me in the side, but it did 325 damage. That stupid ELC is still just doing whatever he wants. I'm gonna get killed by an ELC. That is a case of relying on your team to take care of things and being grievously let down. Alright, so we got post-battle results on the Tiger 2 battle. We ended up losing. Once that ELC killed me, the Jagdpanther 2 was the only person left with any brains on our team, and they were unable to win. So we ended up losing. If I had not gone after the Super Pershing and I'd gone after the ELC, I probably would have managed to live a little longer and probably could have carried us to a win. But I figured that the 3 or 4 guys I left to go after the ELC, including a Tier 8 and a Tier 7 Heavy, I figured they would be able to handle it, and I went after the biggest, baddest target out there, which, believe it or not, was actually a Super Pershing. Everything else that was still alive was in a different theater of the map, so we had to handle the Super Pershing first. And my role in that match was to go after the big boys. So the Super Pershing was the only big boy around for me to go after, so I went after him. And would like to point out that I was beating his face into the ground with impunity and that he could do nothing about it until the ELC showed up and killed me. So, ended up being kind of a disappointing defeat, but again, this is all about knowing your role. My role in that match was to go up into the northern part of the map and to just beat the crap out of the heaviest tanks that I could find. And, I did that. 800 damage to the IS-6. Killed half his crew. I only got 350 damage against this Tiger 2, but I knocked out his ammo rack and I was putting effective fire into him. I went after the Super Pershing and I did almost 900 damage to him. Shot up that T-29. Only got 1 penning hit onto him, but whatever. You get RNG, it happens. Went after the KV-1Ss, did 900 damage to the 2 KV-1Ss. Secured my area, killed everything that I encountered, pumped out 3,300 damage, was one of 2 members of my team to even realize that they were actually playing this game called World of Tanks. Although, in fairness, the enemy team really only had 3 people that that realized they were playing World of Tanks. These three guys right here, and then Assassin ELC that lost it all for me. That sucked. Fair play to Mr. ELC for killing me and winning the game for his team, because that's pretty much what he did. So anyway, guys, I hope the idea of knowing your role comes across here. You have to look at the map, you have to look at the matchmaker, and you have to know the tank you're in, the tanks you're facing, to know what your job is. Not only at deployment, but as the match develops, so that you can properly execute what you need to do to give your team the best chance of winning. And like we just saw in the Tiger 2 match, we can all miscalculate. I miscalculated, and I thought, yeah, my Tiger 2's role, my best role, is to go kill that Super Pershing. But hindsight is 20/20. It turned out my best role was actually to kill that light tank. Because in the end, the light tank is what killed me, and when I died, our chance of victory died with me. So guys, I hope you found this video to be helpful and not as boring as some of the garage advice videos have been, because I know they're sort of boring, actually pretty boring, but that's the kind of thing that, those are the kind of things that a lot of people need to know to get better at this game. So I'm not trying to advise you on how to go out in a blaze of glory. I'm trying to advise you on how to be good at World of Tanks. So sometimes that means boring videos. But I hope you found this one to be informative and less boring than some of the other ones. And until next time, guys, just remember, this is Captain Dorja with Captain Dorja's Armory, and you can never have enough big guns.